Good afternoon, dear panelists and the audience on this platform. We welcome you all to Coffee and Childhood, organized by the upcoming innovative brand Kids OK Please. Today we are here with a very selfless topic, giving back to society, with two beautiful ladies as speakers for the event, and yes, beautiful ladies shining in and out, who are going to share their professional and passionate experiences in serving mankind. I am Tasneem Mesiwala, the moderator for this event. I am the co-owner and head of Sera International Preschool and Childcare Colaba. We are almost a decade-old preschool established in South Mumbai, currently having a virtual platform of learning for children from 2 years to 6 years. I'm on board of the Mumbai Committee of the Early Childhood Association. Past 2 decades have been facilitating lectures with corporates and college students in soft skills and business management. Currently, at the moment, I'm grooming 300 students in marketing management, along with my schoolwork and some social service work as well. Serving as Vice President of a service organization, Giants Group of Vaikila, affiliated to Giants Welfare Foundation. Also support in my niche ways to Angel Express Foundation, an NGO dedicated to working with children for their education. Yes, I know Dr. Maria Nigam from the perspective of Fort Convent Alumni Association, as we both have been alumni of the school, and we are connected for social work. So it's great meeting you here, Doctor, again, and even Ma'am Rena. I just had a little personal conversation with the two panelists, and Ma'am Rena, who's got a lot of prefix degrees before her, she wants me to call her Rena, so please permit me to call her Rena. And Dr. Maria, I will address her as doctor. Giving back to society. Let's begin with the core objective of this webinar. Hello, CHR Rena Khatri Tandon. With having so many hats and being a subject matter expert in POSH, POSH, POCSO, POCSO, and running your venture, Right to Rise and Foundation, RKT Foundation, I'm sure the viewers want to know more about you. A warm welcome. Please do address the audience.
Thank you very much, Tasneem ji, and welcome to all the viewers on Facebook, on Kids OK, on Instagram, and all the social media handles. It's wonderful to be here with all you esteemed dignitaries and Dr. Maria Nigam as well. A big thanks to Amit and all the co-founders of Kids OK. It's a pleasure to be here to share what you totally believe in. I am a certified human rights specialist from EDX Harvard. I also carry a degree in VLSI chip design engineering, and I am a legal practitioner now working into areas of POSH, POCSO, human rights, and stress. I think nurturing a baby is something which all of us know. And that's what I believe in when I have my 2 babies, which is Right to Rise and RKT Foundation. Giving back to society is something which is inbuilt in me. And if I have to say that, it sounds more to people who hear me. But let me tell you, I didn't know that this was my path until I started doing a lot of work through it. I carry a lot of degrees, I carry a lot of certifications, but even today I feel those certifications, degrees don't actually inspire me so much as a miracle in an eye of a person who I can spread light in. I serve around 23 to 24 NGOs pan-India level, again with areas of POSH, which is prevention of sexual harassment, POCSO, which is prevention of sexual abuses, child abuses, sexual abuse in terms of children, and also with human rights, being an activist, helping the voice to reach people and people to reach voices. Because it's not always all voices which are heard. There are voices which are silenced out and need to be listened and heard to. In that perspective, yes, I say I give it back a lot of times to society. In fact, I can just recollect one incident of somebody really needing my help yesterday, though not being a very qualified counselor, I yet just gave her a listening ear to ear. And when I say giving back to society, yes, I do, as a founder of Right to Rise, touch organizations, institutions, and many different NGOs. And people who don't really have the money, the expertise, the kind of reach out, I'm always there for them. So that's in for me, and much more to come in. But I think a listening ear, a sympathetic heart, an empathetic soul, and just being there for someone is all you need to do to give back to society. Thank you.
Absolutely. This creates wonders. Thank you, Raina.
Thank you so much.
Coming to our next panelist, I would love to introduce her to Dr. Maria Nigam, an accomplished physician and gold medalist in pathology. You have dedicated your life to working honorary and improving healthcare outcomes for the marginalized. During these COVID times, in just 55 days, Prana, the voluntary initiative, has grown and founded by you to encourage plasma donation by over 30 patients, with over 30 patients who have recovered in this particular initiative. Can you speak to us more about your program?
Thank you, Tasneem, and I have to thank Amit and everyone at Kids OK Please. And a really hearty afternoon to you both, Rena, Tasneem, and all our viewers watching us today. I'm just completely stoned by listening to Rena and all that she has accomplished, but happy to introduce Prana, our little baby, which is just 55 days old. I've always worked honorary. 30 years ago, graduated from medical school, jumped on in with Father Joe of Kripa Foundation as their medical director in 2006, and really helped build up programs in HIV. And the culmination was getting a street children's shelter going in Dharavi for Kripa, which is really close to my heart. I also the founder member of Action Against Hunger, working with malnutrition in both urban and rural India. And of course, the go-to primary care physician for all my friends and family, counseling them, giving them tips, and so keeping myself on my toes. And then came COVID. I was on a sabbatical, and COVID came with all of its challenges knocking at my door saying, it's time again to do something. So initially I worked with arranging PPEs and masks for my colleagues in Nair Hospital and Tata Memorial Hospital. And then one night in July, I got this call from a family member of a COVID patient, desperate for a bag of plasma. And in organizing this bag for him in the dead of night, I suddenly realized that this is the call now. This is the call to do much more. And Prana was born with the action point of making plasma available easily and universally to any patient in any hospital at any time. And I'm really, really grateful for the lovely team that just came together in days and got it going. Dr. Om Srivastav, who is our leader and beacon, his sister Suman, a veteran social worker, Dr. Sunita Lobo, my sister-in-law in Bangalore, leading the brigade there, and Chaitra Chidanan and her mentee Tanuja, who are our backbone of our tech team, and Sohini Gua and Melody Vaz, who with their creative genius have produced all of the videos and the material, the appeals that go out. And I'm really, really honored today to announce that we have partnered with the Federation of 48 Blood Banks in Bombay, and very grateful to Dr. Shireen Barucha, the chairperson, and all members for their support and having faith in us. So upward and onward with Prana and plasma.
Absolutely. Wishing all the best and congratulations for the initiative, Doctor.
Thank you so much.
Coming back to Raina, as educationists and as social service warriors, we do know POSH and POXO. But there are so many here in the audience who don't know about these acts. What drove you, Raina, to be inspired, being a crusader and touching lives in organizations with scholarships, educational motives, and NGOs in the field of expertise?
So let me tell you my interesting journey as to why and how I'm here. So I hail from South India, though I'm a North Indian, and I understand about 12 to 13 languages to speak and read and write. Having said that, I have traversed across the globe and I've had varied experience. But interestingly, always it's been a challenge of what I want to learn and how I want to spread it. I've always been an earnest learner from young. And in one point of my life, I said, I've achieved so many degrees and I've studied all what is required. I've done my responsibilities as a daughter. I'm married and all there. And I mean, everything is there. So what is that I'm still urging on? Okay. A full-time thing is not something which is on my plate. Why don't I be an entrepreneur? And I struck training, coaching, and mentoring. Having done that for some time, I think POSH just happened to me. I just went into that subject, and the minute I went into the subject and did about 2 or 3 trainings, I realized I always believed in creating miracles for people and creating a pathway where people can actually chalk out a pattern in their life where they can do voluntary stuff. At the same time, they can spread and create a change. And POSH is not always all about the act. Of course, POSH means Prevention of Sexual Harassment Act, and an act which is designed and devised by the government, by the constitution. And we always say women are equal, men are equal, equality exists. But even if we have to ponder back today and say, are we really equal? The answer is no. The answer is that we don't see both male and female equally. We don't see other genders equally. We don't see our boys and girls equally. We do give them education. We do give them everything in life, but we still don't have the same equality mindset. So here I am with the belief that I'm going to go ahead and listen to everybody, understand their thoughts, create a change of mindsets, and then finally say that we are here in an equal, inclusive workplace, trying to help societies build a sustainability for the people who need everything, like the NGOs, giving back to society. Why do you want to give something back to a person who already has? Rather give it to a person who's really urging there and giving them the right pathway to do it. So that's why I'm here today to say that, yes, Right to Life helps the organizations, the institutions, and a lot of people who are able to afford our services in terms of a premium company. But we're also there as RKT Foundation where we care. We listen, we hear you, we empathize with you, and we are there for you no matter nobody else is there, in terms of women, children, people surrounding. If we can help anybody and create this bridge of mindsets and equality so that we listen to all, we grow together, and we bring a chain of people who can at least rise one step up and say that, yes, we are there for you. So in terms of safe, working, healthy workspaces, Right to Rise and RKT Foundation want to make the difference of POSH and POXO. It's not the act at the end of the day. It's what you can make out of the act into a beautiful society.
Thank you, Rena. We will be working into more insights with this particular initiative, and let's come on to Doctor. My question to you, Doctor, would be, tell us more about plasma donation and like what is plasma and save a life. Could you explain on that, please?
Yes. Since March, since COVID began, you must have heard about how it's just such an unpredictable target that just surprises us every day. And as doctors worked to find therapeutic agents. They worked against the COVID virus, but they also thought of exploring plasma, which is a component of blood and which is something that your body produces in response to the virus, are little fighter molecules called antibodies, and these are concentrated in the plasma of your blood. So doctors worked on the presumption that a patient who recovers would have such a concentration of antibodies in their plasma, and when transfused to someone who's struggling to recover, would help such a patient. And hence plasma therapy, or convalescent plasma, CP as we call it, was explored as an experimental therapy, and it's still experimental and under trial to help patients recover. As Tasneem said, we really worked hard and have got 30 donors collectively to come forward and give their plasma in both Bangalore and Bombay together. And this one plasma bag, the amount that we harvest at blood banks, it goes to benefit 2 patients. And so in that way, we've helped 60 patients in these close to 60 days that Prana has got off the ground. And the little experience that we have, of course, we are not clinicians. We are the ones working to motivate, encourage patients recovered from COVID-19 to come forward and with their plasma save another life. I have this message to all the clinicians there to really think about plasma as also another component of your arsenal and give it early. It has known in trials abroad to work when it is given early. So do give it a shot early enough along with the other options that you're considering.
Thank you, doctor, for this. And this is actually an eye-opener of a session. We all are getting a lot of information, and it's creating a lot of channels for people to direct themselves and reach the others who are unwell. Raina, coming back to you, please. Can you encompass why schools should follow the Act, and what are the steps they need to incorporate for safety of their child? I would definitely like to pose this question, as even I'm an educator and I have a preschool. So it is a very insightful question. Please inform us on these areas.
Right. So as per the government norms, I think POSH is an act which has to be applicable at all workplaces. Okay. So workplaces means any place where somebody works. Ideally nowadays we work from home, so that becomes our workplace in short. But yes, the policy has to be incorporated in such way with the work from home policy has to be updated. Now, in consideration to educational institutions and schools, of course, we have a lot of people working in schools. So the first thing which comes into effect is the safety of children. And I'm sure we pay so much money and so much other expenses in terms of resources. Safety comes first. I'm sure as an educator, as an institutional head, the first thing is how POSH and POXO needs to be incorporated in my school. What are the different things I need to be sure? And now that I'm going online, there's a lot of safety issues. So cyber safety becomes most critical. Now, as an educator in POSH and POXO, when we do sessions, of course, POSH is for all people above 18 and all the adults. So of course, your staff, your students, your principals, your trustees, and many other people who visit the school, including volunteers, speakers, everybody who's coming online. It becomes totally the duty of the person who's running the session to run it ethically without any abuse or harassment. And with the rising youth and the changes which they are undergoing in these stressful situations, it's quite possible that a lot of cases nowadays, almost 1,349 cases in the last 1 month only in Maharashtra, occur with cybercrime. And most of them are happening in the youth, where there is an age group of maybe 8 to 16 or 25. Okay, so this is the most vulnerable lot of people who don't know how the crime occurs, whether you're there on a gadget for a game or whether you're there online where you have somebody just switching on the camera and talking something face to face, or a person who's trying to convey something and there's a Zoom bombing which happens. The educators have the whole and sole responsibility for it. Okay, as much as we say for POSH, the responsibility is on the employer, the entire responsibility for the school, for the children, and all safety goes to the educator head, which is the principal and the trustee heads. So most schools don't even know that this act is mandatory. It's not a choice which you have to make. It's something which you have to incorporate. And let me tell you, the best way of giving it back is like I've already said. If you really want to know about it, if you want to be aware about it, RKT Foundation is always there to fund it for you if you don't really have the background to earn it or to go forward for a session like that. So we are doing a lot of awareness programs with colleges and schools where we're not even charging them anything, just doing it pro bono with the essence that a lot of them on the committee, on the advisory, need our support in terms of a long-term creation of a cell or some kind of a safety cell, or we call it a gender cell in school, or even a student development cell or a Quora cell, which is for women in colleges, where we provide the entire compliance support for the year. What is the steps you need to do to become safe? Now, all these things, most play schools, most school heads, most principals, or most educational institutions don't even know. And that's where I say it's important for you guys to be known to this, and it all starts with awareness. So with this, I place my talk, and I urge most school principals, educators, play school heads, safety comes first. I'm sure you might push it away today, but you're not waiting for something to happen in your setup, whether it's personal or professional, and then you start realizing that's the most important thing.
Thank you, Rena, for this, and definitely the educators here and the owners of schools, even corporates. I'm sure many people will be witnessing our session. They will be taking steps now, or at least they will be getting a strong, an echo in their mind that let's move ahead and let us work with the rules and regulations posed by the government for our quality management and our safety.
Thank you.
Doctor, coming to you. So if we can rope in two questions together, Doctor. One is, I have been in touch with you. We connect on phone sometimes. We are always being a peekaboo. You're busy with something. When you call me, I miss your call. I know how effortful it is for doing this kind of, a service which you are currently working in. I would like to please understand what are the challenges that you're facing. Any fears, insecurities, any stigma, lack of access around, or some kind of criteria and norms which come in your way which make it very challenging. What are those features which you can highlight as your challenges? Okay. And my other question, Doctor, is who can donate plasma?
Okay. Thank you, Tasneem. I just want to begin with a few of our strengths of Prana. Our strengths of Prana lie in having this robust team and maintaining our donor registry with very efficient tech support, making it extremely secure, and at the same time paying absolute privacy to the confidentiality of the recovered patient, as well as working with the consent of this patient. That's really, really important to us. And we really want to follow the highest medical and ethical standards in every step of getting that bag of plasma harvested by the patient. So in this way, and with our methodologies, it has been a little hard to access donors. You have to understand that they are going through they are all patients who have recovered from COVID-19, but they're all going through their own personal, emotional trauma. On top of it, the stigma that has now come about with it. And hence they are reluctant to come out again. I can quite understand the fear attached to it, to come visit a blood bank, which is the only place that you can harvest plasma, visit a hospital setting, and bring back the memories of maybe having suffered so much. So I'm totally with these recovered patients, and when they make up their mind, I can really imagine them as being angels, coming forward despite having their own trauma. I think this is one of the most selfless deeds that one could ever make in saving another life with your own plasma. So, uh, where the fear of donating or maybe getting COVID-19 again or, losing your immunity, I speak from a clinical perspective that they are just myths and you really can't get COVID-19 again or lose your immunity by donating plasma. And the procedure is absolutely safe and comfortable, easy. And we are posting a video of one of our donors who has donated twice. You can donate again after a gap of 14 days, provided all your levels are sufficient and meet the criteria for donation. And having donated twice, he really tells it all very beautifully. So if anyone is contemplating donation, do watch this video. Another challenge is, even though we have over a lakh of COVID-19 recovered patients in the city, uh, there are very, very strict eligibility criteria which drive down the pool of donors drastically, whether it is the age 18 to 60, the lack of comorbidities, whether it's your weight above 50 kgs. And I think one of the most important is the timestamp. You can donate plasma only 28 days after you have fully recovered and are symptom free, uh, or 14 days after you have a COVID negative test. So it is a challenge tracking patients, tracking the number of days that have passed. And there again, I'm really grateful to the backend tech support for integrating all this information and giving us doctors a blip as to which donor is now ready and can be counseled in the days before. And then we make the entire donation process really comfortable and easy by picking a blood bank closest to the donor. So having addressed these challenges, I just want to go into a really important eligibility criteria. And there, Reina, you touched upon equality and brought a smile to me, because unfortunately, women who have ever been pregnant cannot donate. And this is because of a clinical reason where some of the father's antigens produce an antibody response in, in a woman who has been pregnant. And these antibodies could harm the lungs of a COVID patient. We call it TRALI, transfusion related acute lung injury. And that's one thing we really don't want to happen. So unfortunately, all you ladies out there, and I have many friends who wanted to donate, you can't donate plasma, but you can always donate blood. You can always convince the men folk around you and motivate them and encourage them to come forward and donate plasma.
Absolutely. So I hope the audience is listening to, the eligibility criteria, and hope we have many patients who are very confident now to come forward and donate this very, very important plasma for creating a cure till we actually hit on a vaccination.
Absolutely.
I would like to just take a moment for introducing Kids OK, Please. It gives me immense happiness to introduce our organizers for the event. Kids OK, Please is a single point platform for you to give marvelous childhood to your children. They are set to offer the best experiences for your children, a tested and verified list of trusted and credible child-friendly environment and content, and the best deals on child-centered brands and engagement, all at the tip of your finger, just a click away. Kids OK, Please consistently creates an enriching content that you and your child can benefit from. A collection of freebies, offers, services, all come as a bonus. So be tuned in to the Kids OK, Please social media handle, Instagram, Facebook, and let's know more about the brand. Okay, coming back to Raina. How does RKT Foundation and Right to Rise help colleges, schools for settling up compliance systems?
Right. So let me bring you back to what Right to Rise is. So Right to Rise is India's only and first comprehensive ISO certified specialist into gender neutral and ethical workspaces. At the same time, we say we work with strategic solutions with a heart. Now, when we deal with youth and children, we really need to be very creative. At the same time, we say we always work with different kinds of emotions which are coming in because they are traversing from a child to a little youth and then to a bigger youth stage. So they are having these teen anxiety traumas, or what you call it, anxiety disorders sometimes. And during that path, I think they fall a victim of a lot of negative or antisocial elements. You could say people, you could say situations, you could say environments. And that's the most sensitive area where you need to be nurturing. Okay, as parents, as educationalists, as people who are providing solutions, we only don't focus on a law and legal solution. We also believe that the psychologists, the counselors, we work towards how a kid's childhood could be more memorable rather than making it more horrid. Okay, in this pandemic itself, I think when I talk about solutions that we give colleges, we tell them one thing: it's a system. Okay, it's not like doing one training of POSH or one training of POXO. It's about devising a system where we can handhold you. We can tell you what works well on an every monthly basis. What do we do for you? How do we nurture the children? What are the different programs we can bring to you? There could be different workshops. There could be different compliance techniques. There could be different ways of you creating the awareness for them, because children don't learn like adults. You can't be spoon feeding them.
Right.
They are very creative, especially 22nd century children. They need different forms of learning. They might want to learn interactively. They might want to learn with gadgets. They might want to learn with technology. And now that we are in digital world, everything is changing every day. It's like every fortnightly you have new systems coming in, like you have Myra, you have Mural, you have Kahoot, you have different things where you can use them. And you can bring solutions which are working to bring in this inclusive space. Now, when I'm talking about law and legal systems, there are ways in which we have designed programs keeping these psychological aspects, whether we are talking about POSH or POXO. And Right to Rise has specialized solutions. We have different programs, not one program, we have 10 programs only for POSH and different programs for POSCO and stress. So we are quite a comprehensive, quite an in-deep solution specialist when we talk. And yes, there might be many outside there, but yet I can say that nobody studies the law in deep and brings it out in so much simplicity. So that makes us unique. We devise the entire system and we tell the schools and colleges, this is what we offer you. Now, if they want to take it, again, it's their choice, because we don't enforce anything. Anything which is enforced never works, is what I believe. And if you really want to touch a heart, it's always about producing one solution, one miracle. The best way to find way is to lose yourself in service of others. And that's what I believe. So if I just go back to people saying, if I can do something for you, let me know what. If it's workable, we work the way up. If it's not, we find another solution to it. But then again, it's never a one-way system. It's always a two-way. Like Dr. Maria said, everything is not feasible. Even if I want to, I can't, because giving out plasma is something where there is a system formed. Only this person can or this person can't. So we have created that specialist solution for creating neutral, ethical, strategic solutions for inclusive workplace. But are you ready for it? Because most people are not even ready, or they don't even know. They don't want to change. And I urge, if you're a school educationalist or a principal, or you're a parent yourself, think about your child. You want best for your child in all aspects. Why not safety and security? You can give them good food, you can give them good education, you can give them good brains, and you can give them good futures. why is safety not an important aspect? Why don't you educate them beyond good touch, bad touch? Why don't you talk to them about sex and gender? Why don't you talk
I think,
because that is what we
okay, Raina, we kind of got cut in between, but we can surely, even
okay.
I've just got
So
my video.
yeah. So
Okay.
I just said that we believe in these ethical solutions that,
Good touch and the bad
everything
touch.
believes
Yeah.
starts with beyond the good touch and bad touch, we need to go beyond and talk about our gender and sex and a lot of other things which talks about how equality and inequality begins so that we can create that foundation, and then that foundation is being laid when you go into schools and colleges. So systems are all made. We go ahead and tell all of them what are the systems, because every place has a different system. It will be different for a play school, it might be different for a mid-level school, it might be different for a college, it might be different for organizations, and different for unorganized sectors. But are you ready for it? It's a mindset to be ready for the right thing and to be able to apply it, and that's important.
Thank you, Rena. Coming to doctor. Yes, doctor, we can extend the session for another 10 minutes. Thank you so much, because I know you all both are in a tight schedule and I did get the message. Thank you. Doctor, coming to you again, I would like to know, where do you see Pranav in a month from now?
Okay, I think it's a little ambitious, but doable. And I'm really grateful, as I said, to the team, the collaboration now with the Federation of Blood Banks, and so many supporters which have just jumped on from every corner of India. I really hope that we are able to go from 30 donations to 100 donations by the end of the month. And you, all of you out there are very much part of that process. uh, I can remember the many times that I've sat at the end of the day with a big smile on my face, and you will ask me why. It's because that family member called me back and said, "You cannot imagine how much Prana helped us today and made a difference." Or it could be a donor who says, Doc, today was the best day of my life. I cannot describe the fulfillment I felt knowing I have perhaps saved a life today. And, uh, and so just appealing to all of you there, bring a smile to a family member's face, to us here in Prana and FBBB working so hard at this, and make it fulfilling for you too. So take Prana from 30 to 100 by the end of the month. Make a pledge to do this today, that you will sign up at least one donor for us on our website or on the link that is posted, and help us to bring these numbers. Another thing that we're really working and is very close to my heart, having worked in addiction, in HIV, and seen the stigma that HIV brought all those years ago, is mental health. I feel that COVID has brought with it an epidemic in mental health as well. Whether it is being cooped up at home, from the children to the elderly, or just having, to have this new setup of work from home, and also our recovering patients or their family members, our donors. I think they all need a little pulse of, stress busting. And so we are putting together the Prana FBBB mental health COVID task force soon, with a helpline, webinars, motivational materials for them to help them bust the stress. And of course, we started as babies in Bombay, and my sister-in-law leading the brigade in Bangalore. But we really it's a pan-India movement, a pan-India plasma donation movement. And yes, coming soon to Chennai, Jaipur, Pune, and Mangalore. So really excited about that.
Thank you, doctor, for this information. And Raina, coming to you, please, again.
Yeah.
What are the important facts and precautions parent and schools should align for a safe workplace? And yeah, keeping in mind POXO.
Right. So with the same question which is aligned, I think the next question also comes in. So I'll put both of them together for you also, because the situation is very connected. Certain things people need to know in POXO is that when the act talks all about the safety measures of a child, okay, so the safety never goes one way. It goes by both the parent and the school. Now, if the school is going to give only sessions with regard to safety of good touch and bad touch, the child doesn't know what to do in case he's been sexually abused or harassed. And if the parent is somebody who doesn't know and what to talk or how to talk because awareness is not there, then he's totally lost. And even when a parent comes and hears my session, sometimes he says, "Ma'am, तो मैं कैसे बताऊं अपने बच्चे को कि मतलब मैं पापा होके अपनी बेटी को कैसे समझाऊं या मम्मी होके अपने बेटे को कैसे समझाऊं?" Let me tell you, I am a mother of boy. Okay, I don't have to wait for my husband to go and educate him that, you know, what is good touch, what is bad touch, what are the different organs, what is sex, what is gender, what is penis, what is anal, and all the other parts. Okay, if I'm not going to tell him, then he won't understand, and I don't want to keep XYZ names to whatever they are. Why not give them the exact names? And in POXO, we already know there are different terms of people who will come to help. There's a POXO e-cell which the government provides. We Right to Rise are also come up with our own apps, and we already have on the website a lot of e-portals where you go and click and there is a lot of support. Now, when we have that kind of support, only when we reach out to more and more people, they can actually talk to us. So on Right to Rise page itself, you can find some of them, or even you can ping on to my numbers are right on the web page telling you that if you need any help, you can always ping them at any part of the night also. And then there are sources which will come and help you. So now there's only one thing which we are lagging in, because POSH and POXO cannot be tracked. It's not government linked. Okay. So whenever there are cases, wherever people feel they are abused, all they can do is either go to SheBox. SheBox is a Maharashtra government cell box. Again, we have POXO e-cells. I tell, like Bihar has already developed a POXO e-cell in each school. If Maharashtra and the other governments can develop these kind of cells under our guidance, it becomes so much easier for the school to develop these cells and then connect to us, and then we take care of it or connect to the government. So our role as a parent is to create more and more awareness for parents, for societies, for NGOs to know about this, and then even the school people to run these kind of programs and tell them, look, this is an app, all you need to do is to do this, but for that we need to open and talk. If we're not going to be open about it, we're always shutting things, thinking, you know, we are keeping our environment safe, but it's becoming more and more vulnerable to fear, unknown, ignorancy, and that's not what we want. So all I urge is that when we are talking about POXO, of course, doing POXO is a very big act. It takes another 2 hours to just even teach what is POXO or what is POSH. But there have been even some instances in the late, which was your next question also, which I will just link it to this because I think you're also falling short of time. See, there's been incidents lately in Bangalore where a child who's silenced out and he's just a witness to an incident of, say, truth and dare. Okay, in the youth, you don't know what to do because you're not being advised by school, you're not having support of your parents. None of them are talking to you because they don't have the time for it. And in pandemic, everybody is very stressed. Like I said, even Dr. Maria says, we have situations where mental health is on the spree and you need a lot of help. Now, in these situations, if you leave a child who's really lost, all he needs to do, he goes to Google or he looks up some kind of a dictionary, and dictionary leads you from one word to another word, which might not give you the right answer, or to a wrong company which you hold in terms of friends or environment. Getting information from a wrong environment is very fast. And if you're not having access to good information from your own loved ones, you are going to be attacked. This boy was being rusticated from his college just because he was a silent observer of an incident where a boy had a truth and dare incident with a girl, and the girl did something in terms of sexually showing some kind of a body part. And then she went and happily went and filed a case of sexual harassment or abuse against these boys. What is the fault of the person who was silenced is that he didn't even revoke or didn't even talk, and he was a silent spectator. Because silently being a part of a crime is equivalently becoming a criminal. So I think most schools, either they don't want to address it, or they fear that addressing it would cause a lot of damage to their parents. Let me tell you, most parents are very educated, and half of them are going to organizations, and organizations run posh, full-fledged. And every time we run those sessions, we tell them, please go and talk to your setups. Whether it's your parents, whether it's your grandparents, whether it's your children, because only you can create the safety. A child always comes to the parent first, then to others. The best person to teach him is the parent first, then the others. So we can be help. We can provide the support. Right to Rise is always there, just a call away. We are there on all social media handles. RKD Foundation is always there for NGOs. We are urging NGOs to come up to us and tell us, for us to help them and make them aware with the sessions. But for all the people who don't know, how do we reach them? And that's where we do, we like Kids Okay, and all of us, we are got together here. That's how we spread each other's, like we spread about Dr. Maria and the plasma, we spread about you and your work, and we spread about our work. And that's how we have enablers grow.
True, Raina. Thank you. Thank you for the information. And there's a lot of awareness which is created in this session.
Yeah.
And I hope there are spectators and audience who have got their logbooks in and they are noting down the points, because there's so much of, information which is channelized to the hearts, and we all need to act now.
Yes, true.
Doctor, coming to you. You are a super mom.
Wow, Tasneem.
If you had any piece of advice to be shared to the mummies here, what would that be?
It would take a lifetime, but I'm going to condense it off. And I can tell you that it is the most precious gift that you can give your children is your time. And I just have this superb sense of fulfillment that I did give up my medical career and spend every minute of their growing years with my two daughters. Of course, they are now in San Francisco and really big. And even though Prana is my third baby, that umbilical cord isn't cut off. And another thing that could bring a smile to me is in the night if they call me and say, Mom, you've got this with Prana, go ahead. Yeah, that's so important. So I think COVID is helping you in this regard. All you lovely mummies out there, daddies out there, it's I think given you a chance to spend that much more time with your children, and going with the theme of giving back to society. I would say be those donors along with your children. It could be a project that's very, very small, and I'll share with you one of them that our own building children, I encourage them to do. We were running short of masks at Tata Memorial Hospital, and they had all these beautiful pieces of art they had got ready. And we had a little raffle and called it Art for a Mask. And we raised over 20,000 rupees with that. And so grateful for these little children and the adults who chipped in with them. So make it a collective effort together to make that little difference, whatever it may be, COVID relief or otherwise, and weave that magic together.
The idea is so important, and we need some volunteers, and then it kickstarts and it spreads boundaries.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And the team is made for these positive initiatives. Thank you, Doctor, for sharing this. Raina, I would like to ask you about, as a parent, teacher, educator, and organizations head in today's pandemic, how do you see safety measures to be incorporated online and types of cyber safety measures in line with laws and system in all the setups?
Right. So I'll just quickly share only the few tips.
Sure.
I believe in just giving away the takeaways 1, 2, 3. We are all here together. So whether we are an educator, whether we are a parent, or whether you are an organization specialist, certain things have to be very cleanly followed. Number one, have your own ID and passwords. When you're on social media, whether you're using Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or any of these have to be changed every 15 days. I know I'm sounding really weird, but as a cyber safety or security specialist, one thing which we need to follow is at least once a month, change your passwords. Because cyber hackers are very easily able to find your IDs and your passwords if they hack on their LAN. And if you keep changing the passwords, it becomes very difficult for them to track you. The second thing is whenever you log on to sources like Zoom and WebEx and MS Teams and any of these softwares, ideally keep your cameras always closed when you log in and your sound always muted. The second thing is if you are somebody who's educating or somebody who's getting into a session, being a lady, at least I know, if you are quiet, even if you're talking with somebody at office and you're commenting about somebody, at least it doesn't go to the other person. Because sometimes it's quite normal that your sound comes out and you're talking about somebody else and it's been overheard. And nobody, especially women today, are very highly empowered. Okay, so nobody's going to take any shit. So if you talk about somebody, it just goes like a lightning wire to the IC committee and you've been thrown out. Second thing, being a lady, you need to be really careful. What are you dressed in? What are you trying to project yourself in? Every time you're there outside on media, on video, be a little professionally dressed, have a subtle smile, don't have too much of makeup, don't be too observant, don't be too focused. People are not here to listen to or see your face, they are here to look at your content and your value, what you give. Okay, so be always with a closed collar. Anything which is closed, very well dressed, very well behaved, very highly professional when you are on camera, and then off camera, closing it with the same subtleness and not too much of sound and heard what you say. Okay, I'm there, I'm here. You're not a motivational speaker, nor are you a celebrity. Let's understand you're there for work. If you are one of them, then you can make those sounds. And the brightest stars are only those which shine for the benefit of others.
And they don't need the spotlight.
They don't need. I think we all are here. I think we don't have spotlights here yet. But our voice is there to help everybody who's there at Kids OK and the viewers who watch us. But I don't really know whether it's a small child of 5 or it's an elderly, a person of 65, or the kids and the parents who are listening to this, educators, organizations. This voice is basically for the entire community. We are talking here to put a difference in each soul, a difference in each action which can go and convert. Right to Rise very much believes in only one thing. We are here basically that every individual has the right to rise. We want to reach out to each and every person to bring out that maximum potential in them with the subtleness and with the collective growth of safety, healthy environments, so that we can have maximized results. To have maximized results, today I can only give you one takeaway. When you're on social media, switch off the camera, switch it on whenever you're there, change your passwords, be very careful what you write on social media. Do not post unnecessary selfies. If you're really a person who likes to flaunt your dresses, the way you look and all that, then you create a separate Facebook page for your friends and family, a separate Facebook page for your professionals.
You have create rooms, you have a lot of applications now.
You have create rooms, you have counseling
you can
rooms,
work
you have so many things.
with your own family friends.
Yes. Google meetings, which are much more safer when compared to Zooms. Instagram is much more a youth-oriented thing. If you are somebody who's really chilled out, you have to behave differently with a different crowd. Okay, you have to be one among them. And apart from that, see, you can't, don't just go and respond to any message which comes to you. So many times you get messages from some hacker on the Paytm, on the Google Pay, on the emails. without reading who is sending, we understand it's for us. For example, someone says, I have seen you with your girlfriend, and if you really want the pictures back, please do send me a message and da 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 da. And if you are really somebody who has a girlfriend and you've done something wrong with her, you'll get panicked. But you will not go and read the message from where has it come. Let me tell a more relevant message. Okay, you get a message from your bank and they say that, okay, you have been undergoing a loss of so and so thing, and if you want it to be more safe, then change the password and this and that. And immediately you go to your bank IDs and password and start changing everything. Did you even check from where is it come? And today's youth, today's people, even we, I'm not even blaming the youth today, even all of us, okay, we don't even check from where the message is coming. Is it relevant? Is it true? Even the messages on Paytm, the Paytm message, somebody just calls up. I know an entire hacking message which ran 20 minutes by a person who fooled that hacker and got all the information out. And he said, it's so easy to fool people today. This was his words. It's easy to fool people today. Just call them and tell them, I've sent you a message, and basically that's something where you will be getting money. So please accept it. And this somebody has been so busy in work that he goes, opens his Paytm app, and if he clicks on that, 2 lakh rupees is transferred to that man. And what was the difference? It was not accept money, it was send money, and you didn't even read it properly and you clicked it. That's why every day government sends you a message, Paytm, Google Pay is not much safer, do a bank transfer. But still we follow that. Still we work on that because we find it more easy. But when you're using it, be careful. Kids, we give apps so easily. We give iPads, iPhones. It's fine to give a gadget. Gadget is not the problem. It's fine to give technology. Technology is not the problem. The problem is you're not equipping you and your children to use it properly. They can use it for hours together. That's fine. Tell them
we have to train ourselves in technology. We need training.
Exactly.
We need to have knowledge.
Be very careful that if it says you need to pay for some app, we don't pay. Because all your credit cards are totally aligned with your laptops and your iPads. It takes 1 minute for a child to go click on it and it gets cyber fraud of 5 lakhs. It's just minutes, and it's very difficult to track because hacking has become much more a business now. And these people are so smart that the jumps of the number of computers on the LAN it's amazing and stupendous. You can't even track it down. So it's not that easy as it sounds. All I can say is be safe. Stop doing the crazy stuff. I think everybody knows you're beautiful, you're sexy, or whatever. Nobody needs to be checking out on that. And checking out here, checking out there. Where do you log in? Where do you log out? Why do you really need to do all that?
Thank you, Reina, for this very, very important message in the current times. One person can make a difference and everyone should try. I thank the organizers of Kids OK Please, our very special guest speakers, our panelists for today's webinar, CHR Raina Tandon and Dr. Maria Nigam. A big thank you for the wonderful audience who has participated in the show. Please do log into social media handles of Kids OK Please on Instagram and Facebook. We'll flash in comments the links which will help you reach out to us. Thank you till we meet again. Let's sign off. Thank you.